Hello everybody and welcome to the second race of the season. USA International Speedway will be your second race of the year, and we are getting ready to go here as we have quite the show for you today, hopefully. We're going to get ready to see who can take on the short track here of USA International. Last Sunday's night race, or last Sunday's race, not night race, at Sebring was taken over and pretty much handled perfectly by the 72, or I believe is the 72 car of the 72 car. That would be Trace Howard. The Dirt Vision number 72 Ford won the first race of the year at Sebring. Almost lost it to another driver, but he managed to somehow pull it out. As we're looking just through the field here, a new driver has taken over the Logitech Chevrolet. Used to be the 04 Mike Montesi, but now it is the 35 of Gatlin Downey. So Gatlin Downey will take over that 35 machine, and he's hoping to have a good run tonight here at USA International. And this is a short track, so we're going to go 180 laps here at USA. And this is going to be a fun one. It's going to be a pretty close race between a lot of drivers, and you'll probably expect a little bit more aggression from some drivers. Currently, right now, the fast time is the number 6 of Ernest Crispin. Used to drive for Farnham Motorsports in the Copperhead Amateur Series, as well as one of their main drivers in the MSCA. Used to be a MSCA Truck Series driver, moved over to the Casey's Cup Series, or Casey's Sportsman Series as it was known. However, it looks like Bob Schwepka has something to say for it. Lap number 7, he puts up a fast time of a 23.416. So, 23-second lap time seems to be the norm around here. Long straightaways, some pretty tight corners. It's not as small as Martinsville, and it has a little bit more banking. But it'll be an interesting short track to see how things go. And it will be a night race. We are starting practice in the sunset. Qualifying will be not long after that, and then finally we will end off the race under the lights. 180 laps here at the USA International Speedway. It's a bit longer than most short tracks of this nature, but it still races much like a regular short track would. So, as you can see, Schwepka passing Brandon Bent, his quote-unquote teammate, as you could possibly consider him. Austin Jakes in the 40 car had a pretty good finish last week. Did not, believe finished in the top 10, but didn't have the greatest race. Probably could have had a little bit more under him there. However, 4th position, we can see is Eric Monaco. 5th position is the 001 of Ricky Dixon. 6th right now in the running order is Gatlin Downey. 7th in the practicing order is Kelly Lee. 8th is Cesar Chavez. Both of those drivers had some issues early on. 9th place being Ryan Reed. And then Greg Shivers is going to be sitting in 10th. Isaac Nichols, who had a pretty good run last week, ended up in the top 5, if I recall. So a lot of stories coming out of that last race, seeing where in the ASCA we can maybe see some drivers on the road courses. However, we can also see Daniel Voiles taking over the top spot again. So Daniel Voiles in that 26 car doing a very good job of holding that position. Getting a fast lap time in of 23.3. 1:33.56. As we look onward, Cody Gump, who is really good at the road courses, seems to be struggling here right now. About a full second off of the lead with a 24.5, so that does not look good for him. The number 30 of Sandeep Singh also not looking too hot right now. As we continue to move through the field here and see what's what. We got about 5 minutes left in the practice session. A little over 5 minutes. So the practice session is mainly just for the drivers to figure out what they need to do for qualifying and for the race. It gives them enough time. It gives them a short amount of time to kind of figure out where the car is at when they get it off the trailer. And then qualifying, obviously, is where you want to be the fastest you can go. Kyung-hee Lee in the 51 machine had the only incident so far as I'm aware, only actual incident on track, and ended up in the grass and on the second or third sector, around the second sector, somewhere after the hairpin. So, hoping to bounce back from poor finish at Sebring. Hopefully they can pull this one off. Number 15 of Jacob Stavanoa. Another driver who kind of finished midfield, didn't really do a whole lot. Currently sitting about 28th in the running order. And a driver who we had in the booth yesterday, or last week, is the number 2, Jay Barker. He is currently not in the booth with us today, but unfortunately not doing much better than last week, currently sitting in 35th of 36. So a lot of the drivers who we might have seen up at the front are not doing the greatest right now. Chris Malley about where he was at last time in Sebring. Not too far off of Allison Rhodes in that 29 machine. The 68 of Rick Witt. Doing a pretty average job. He's finished. He has one finish so far, and that was in the middle of the field. Second half, I believe, of the field. In the Hissingveld number 68 Chevy. Over some other drivers, you can see they're going 3 wide around this corner. Tanya Brayer driving a little bit aggressive, so we're going to see maybe a couple of different drivers do some good here. It'll be interesting to see who's able to pull off, who's able to do what, and that's going to be the one thing that we'll be watching. Mitchell Henderson here in the Summit Racing Equipment, number 88. Normally seen in the Dogecoin machine, but currently right now not able to run Dogecoin. Looking at the top 10, though, Nicholas Samudio doing a pretty good job in that number 1 car. However, looking at it, Tanya Brayer with a 23.208 got free of some of the traffic around her and was able to put up a really good lap time. So right now it looks like Tanya Brayer, Daniel Voiles, Bob Schwebka are kind of the top 3 that could potentially win this race. It's all a matter of whether or not some of these drivers can get out of the traffic whenever possible. So traffic's definitely going to play a factor in this race for sure. trying to get through lap traffic is going to be a must for everyone to figure out. And so we're gonna see who can at least play through the traffic and who has the most pace. The other thing too is getting into pit lane is not going to be easy. Pit lane is all down the front stretch. So on like a track like Bristol or Martinsville, the pit lane is, you know, right there off of turn 4. So getting onto pit road is going to be one of the trickier parts of this track. Jake Rogers sitting in 13th with 23.5. And is hoping to get something going here for that 64 machine. But we're still going to see who can pull it out. Coming close to the end of practice here. About 15 seconds. And it looks like the end of practice will be right there. So 5-minute countdown for drivers to come into the pits after they complete their last lap. All right, qualifying will be up next on the docket here. And we're going to ride along with Trace Howard in the 72 to get you an insight into what this track will bring, how the track will run, and where on the racetrack you might be able to find some speed here. Trace Howard, obviously the pole sitter from last race and the winner of last race, so he will get the ride along here today at USA. Fairly long straightaways and some slightly banked corners, but not much to write home about. Obviously, it looks like the car might be a little loose for Trace as he's driving out of the corners, not very hard. As we look to our top positions here, though, Gatlin Downey in the 35. Currently your top lap time so far. And as we look up to the qualifying board, Gatlin Downey looks like he's going to be able to stay where he is. So Gatlin Downey, the number 35 car, will be your pole sitter in his first race here in the ASCA iRacing series. 35 car Gatlin Downey gets the pole position. Eric Monaco starts second. Third will be Isaac Nichols. Fourth is Greg Shivers. Fifth is Ricky Dixon. Sixth is Austin Jakes. Seventh is Jake Rogers, 8th Cesar Chavez, 9th Emma Bays, and 10th Andrea Martinez. That'll be your top 10. And we'll go over next. Gotta go to the next session here. And alright, we should be good to go as we are getting ready for race number 2 As we look at where everyone's starting, on pole will be the number 35 of Gatlin Downey. His outside is going to be the number 4 of Eric Monaco. Isaac Nichols is going to start row 2 inside. To his outside is going to be the 89 of Greg Shivers. Ricky Dixon in row 3 inside. To his outside is going to be the number 40 of Austin Jakes. Jake Rogers, row 4 inside. To his outside is going to be the number 45 of Cesar Chavez. Row 5 inside is Emma Bays, and on the outside of her is going to be the 73 of Andrea Martinez. Tanya Breyer starts 11th in row 6 inside. To her outside is going to be Juan Garcia in the number 10. Row 7 inside is going to be Ryan Reed, and to his outside is going to be the number 29 of Allison Rhodes. Arian Azad in that 03 machine going to start inside row number 8. Kelly Lee to his outside in the 16th position. Mikhail Latoris is going to be 17th inside of row 9. To his outside is going to be Ernest Crispin. Inside of row 10 is going to be Bob Schwepka, and to his outside is Zach Staines in the 21. Kyung-hee Lee is going to start inside of row 11, and to their outside is going to be Trace Howard in the 72. Mitchell Henderson going to start inside of row number 12. To his outside is Daniel Voiles. Cody Gump inside of row number 13. Matthew Proctor in the 66 going to start to his outside. Nicholas Samudio starting 27th in row number 14, and to his outside is going to be Brandon Bent. Rick Witt, not a good qualifying effort for him, starting inside of row number 15. Sam Verbeek to his outside. Jacob Stavanoa had a average race at Sebring, not going to do too well here in qualifying today. Going to start inside of row number, I believe 16, and Sandeep Singh is going to start to his outside. Jay Barker also not doing too well inside of row number 17. Stuart Gratton to his outside. And finally, row 18 is going to have Xavier Carlson in the 888. And to his outside is going to be Chris Malley in the 25. That is going to be your lineup here as we get ready to go. To drop the green flag here at USA. And so as cars are getting ready to fire up, 180 laps here at USA International Speedway to see who gets to take home the second race of the season and to see where everyone will stand by the time everything is over and done with. 3 Chevys start on the front row, or 3 Chevys start up at the front, with the 35 in the 4 car, as well as Isaac Nichols being in 3rd place. So the whole podium, the whole qualifying podium right now is Chevrolet only, and then finally the only Toyota in the top 5 is the 89 of Greg Shivers. So as they make their way back down the front stretch, the fans giving them a wave, ready to send them off here for 180 laps here at USA International Speedway. And Gatlin Downey will have the field this time by. Some of the cameras, Gatlin Downey in the 35 obviously will have the field this time. Coming into turn number 4, the pace car is getting ready to pull off. We are getting ready to go here for 180 laps here at USA International Speedway. Gatlin pulls away as the pace car pulls off. We are green.
Green flag, green flag.
Down into turn number 1, Gatlin Downey with a good advantage over Eric Monaco in the number 4 machine. However, if you look behind him, Isaac Nichols has that inside of Eric Monaco, and he's going to try to make a move on the inside to take over second place. Isaac Nichols had a good start at Sebring last weekend, so he's going to try to make the most of it now. He's a little bit further up in the field, and he's hopefully going to be able to take something out of this one as Gatlin Downey's starting to pull away. The battle for second place is Isaac Nichols to the inside. Almost went 3 wide there with the 001 of Ricky Dixon. Doesn't matter, though, as Isaac Nichols starts to pull out from the 2 cars battling behind, as you can see the rest of the field behind him. So right now the battle between Ricky Dixon and Eric Monaco is still raging on. Looks like Eric Monaco is going to drop back a few more positions as Ricky Dixon in the 001 trying to take over that position. You can see behind him, though, Jake Rogers and Austin Jakes, and even Tanya Breyer taking it 3 wide between Emma Bays and Greg Shivers. So Tanya Breyer being very aggressive here at the start. And a good move from Tanya Breyer moves her up to the 6th spot, but she doesn't get the best entry into the corner, but I believe that's kind of her strategy almost. Slow in, fast out seems to be what's working right now for her. As Greg Shivers pulls up to her back bumper. Looking forward, however, that battle between Dixon and Monaco has not changed. Meanwhile, up at the front, you can see the battle for the lead between Isaac Nichols and Gatlin Downey has started. And Isaac Nichols pulls a great move to the outside. And Isaac Nichols, now your leader. Gatlin Downey, however, trying to fight back on the inside. Great battle between these two for the lead. Isaac Nichols to the outside, Gatlin Downey to the inside. Inside looks a little bit faster down the backstretch. However, Isaac Nichols has a good line around the outside, able to hold the speed. Looking out to the outside, Isaac Nichols will clear him down the front stretch, but will he keep it into turn 1? He will, and Isaac Nichols keeps the lead. Nichols in the 22 iRacing Chevrolet, now driving down the backstretch, starting to pull away a little bit from Gatlin Downey. Meanwhile, we're looking to see how close lap traffic is. It doesn't seem to be that far into it. As you can see, also Ricky Dixon able to finally take over the spot from Eric Monaco. So now it is Nichols, Downey, Dixon, Monaco, and then Rogers in the 64 machine. Meanwhile, Tanya Breyer and Andrea Martinez fighting over that 6th position. Tanya Breyer likes that outside lane, similar to how Isaac Nichols got by Gatlin Downey. But it doesn't look like she's able to really do anything with it. Tanya Breyer now loses a little bit of time, but now a little bit of a slow exit from the 73 car on that inside lane. As we're watching the battle for 6th position right now, and it looks like Tanya Breyer is going to get the run around the outside. It seems like the Chevrolets are having a really good time of it right now. Now Cesar Chavez is going to make a move to the outside, see if he can do something with it in that 45 Brandt Toyota. So Isaac Nichols is your current leader. He has started to pull a gap on Eric Monaco, who is now taken over 2nd place. So now Nichols and Monaco are 1 and 2. And now it looks like Eric Monaco is starting to pull a little bit closer to the back end of Isaac Nichols. Eric Monaco trying to maybe dive to the inside, doesn't get the move to stick, and so he's going to stay behind the 22 for one more lap at least, or at least one more set of corners. You can hear from the camera where the lap cars are in comparison to where the leaders are. Monaco goes way wide on the exit of 1 and 2. Nichols defending that inside lane and had a much better exit, it looked like. As we head back down the backstretch this time by. Isaac Nichols in that 22 machine. The 4 car of Eric Monaco still sitting in 2nd place. we'll look at where the back of the field is. Stuart Grattan just heading down the backstretch, and then Isaac Nichols about a straightaway between last place and first place. So lap traffic will most likely come into play in the next few laps. You can see Isaac Nichols has really pulled a gap over the rest of the field. Now battle for third place is ensued between Ricky Dixon and Gatlin Downey, but Downey able to power through it. Jake Rogers now looking to the inside of Tanya Breyer for fifth place. And Rogers looks like he's going to be able to take that spot fairly easily. Once the tires start to wear down, that outside lane starts to lose a little bit of the grip that it probably had earlier. However, they are laying down some rubber on that outside lane, so it should grip up a little bit after, I believe, the first pit stop. I believe there's only going to be one pit stop in this race due to the length of the race. Now, Jake Rogers is starting to move through the field a little bit here. While Isaac Nichols starting to catch the back of the field, I believe. Here, that's where the last car in the field is. You can see them in 1 and 2. So it looks like Nichols is slowly catching the back of the 23 car of Stuart Grattan. Looking through the rest of the field here, we got a few cars that are trying to battle with each other. Greg Shivers trying to take that outside lane, possibly from Chavez. Juan Garcia also trying to take that inside lane and take over the 10th position. So the 10 car takes over 10th from Austin Jakes, looking behind Bob Schwipka in that 334 machine, doing as much as he can to try and stay on the inside and try to get a top 10 here. Looking back over to the leader, Isaac Nichols, doing a fairly decent job. And there's a big group of cars right here, as Tanya Breyer has gotten by Jake Rogers and Ricky Dixon. Now Dixon trying to take over that inside from the 64 machine of Jake Rogers. So that is so far the battle for 5th position between Rogers and Dixon. As we look back up towards the lead, now you can see there is the back of the field, so we are about to hit lap traffic, and this is going to be where things get interesting. About lap number 22. And we are about to hit lap traffic in the next corner, I believe. Finally getting by the first 2 cars of lap traffic, and this is where things start to get a little bit interesting, because now lap traffic is going to be playing a little bit of a factor into how well the second place car can maybe catch the leader. Because if he can navigate the lap traffic a little bit easier than Nichols can, it'll be a lot better off for him to be able to catch the back end of that 22 and maybe get a move made on him. However, it also is still early in the run. We're on lap 22 of 180, so they still got plenty of time to make something happen, and especially if green flag pit stops have to become a thing, you want to make up a lot of time on pit road if possible. So you can see Isaac Nichols starting to cut through the field here. So he's gotten by the last 3 cars in the line. He's about to get by Cody Gump, as well as Jake Rogers ahead of him. So Nichols is really moving through the field here. It doesn't seem like Eric Monaco is having as good of a time of it, which means that Gatlin Downey, depending on how fast he can get through traffic, could potentially take over that 2nd position. Right now, Isaac Nichols doing a very good job getting through that lap traffic. Gatlin Downey has finally caught the back end of the field now. Currently sitting in third. Tanya Breyer in fourth. She's hoping to get some runs through lap traffic. You can see Chris Malley letting the 13 car go on the outside. Seems to me Eric Monaco is just not able to get through traffic. Has elected to run that high line through the corners, and it's just kind of been a little bit too slow. Meanwhile, Gatlin Downey's going to take that inside lane. He's going to try to get by both the 88 and the 2 car at the same time. Now that all the lap cars are racing each other, it's becoming more difficult for them to get by. And now you've got a pass for second place being made, Gatlin Downey. And now you've got a race. You got a race between 3 cars to try and get into second, as all 3 of those drivers have basically globbed together. And they're trying to make something work here. So it looks like Downey's going to take over second place, but he's got Tanya Breyer right up his backside, and he's going to try to avoid losing the spot to Breyer, but Breyer, if she has anything to say about it, won't be anyone to mess with as far as getting through the lap cars and making sure that she can navigate the lap traffic after she gets by Downey. So a good race between these 2 drivers as Isaac Nichols has pulled out a 3-second lead over the rest of the field behind him. But Gatlin Downey now having a little bit of an issue because Tanya Breyer to the inside. Breyer easily makes the work of Gatlin Downey. Meanwhile, behind him, the field is really shaking itself up. Eric Monaco still struggling to get by the 888 of Xavier Carlson. And so finally, he gets released from some of that lap traffic, and that has really killed his track position. As of right now, Isaac Nichols still holding the lead. Tanya Breyer sitting in second and doing a very good job of chasing down the leader of Isaac Nichols. She has been just cutting through lap traffic. And now Ricky Dixon is trying to get to the inside of Gatlin Downey for third place. Cesar Chavez has made his way up through the field. Now he sits in the 5th spot. Tanya Breyer is looking like the fastest car on the racetrack right now. She has got the currently fastest lap so far, and is running in the 23.9s. So she looks like she has a car that can run a pretty good long run. As we've gone through 35 laps so far. Isaac Nichols trying to still navigate through lap traffic, trying to get by the 31 of Sam Verbeek. And then also in front of him is the 27 of Brandon Bent. So the excitement has kind of been toned down a little bit. You can see Ricky Dixon has been released from lap traffic. Gatlin Downey is starting to lose spots as Cesar Chavez gets to his inside and takes over 4th position. Eric Monaco has fallen all the way down to the 8th position. So he has a lot of spots to make up as he's trying to get by the 73 of Andrea Martinez. So right now, your top 5 right now is Isaac Nichols, Tanya Breyer in the 13, Ricky Dixon in the 001, 4th is Cesar Chavez, and then battling with him for the 4th spot, currently sitting in 5th right now is Gatlin Downey. Chavez hopefully going to stay in the top 5, but he's still got a long way to go to try and defeat that 35 car, and it looks like Downey's going to take the spot. And behind Chavez, you have Jake Rogers in the 64 Jegs machine. Monaco's actually pulled back a spot and is now sitting in the 7th position and is now trying to maybe make it 3 wide between Chavez and Rogers. And he will make it 3 wide going down the back stretch. A good battle between Chavez, Rogers, and Monaco for the 5th spot. Monaco easily able to take over 6th from Jake Rogers. However, Rogers is going to cut back down to the inside, down the front stretch, and into turns 1 and 2. This allows Chavez to start to pull a little bit of a gap, but now Rogers is going to drive it into the inside really, really deep. We look forward to see where first and second are, and it looks like Breyer has started to fall a little bit off the pace of Isaac Nichols. It seems like they're matching pace at the moment. Breyer just a slight bit faster. But the battle really right now is for 3rd on back. Well, 3rd to 8th are right on top of each other, and it's all dependent on where the lap traffic is and who can get to the inside of who. Right now, Jake Rogers is just looking back between this battle between Dixon and Downey. Rogers is going to try to maybe look to the inside of Downey whenever Dixon is actually able to clear him, and there it goes into turn 1. Jake Rogers to the inside of Gatlin Downey. Doesn't get the best exit though, as Downey is able to pull back down the back straightaway. And now the 64 of Jake Rogers again. Driving that thing to the inside, and now he's going to be able to get a good run as Downey is now being held up by the 03 of Arian Azad. Isaac Nichols seems to have lapped up to 24th position. That would be the 68 of Rick Witt. And right now, again, this huge group of cars behind him. Rogers, Monaco, Brandon Bent has somehow managed to get back into this little group of cars. Now Andrea Martinez cutting down through the middle, trying to take something from Brandon Bent. Get him out of the way, as it just seems like lap traffic is really hitting these guys from 3rd on back hard. Ricky Dixon seems to have been released from the rest of the field behind him, as now we're going 3 wide again. Rogers trying to take the outside of Sam Verbeek. Eric Monaco, in his quest to try and get back up to the 2nd position, looking quite good as he continues to navigate through the lap traffic again. Coming close to lap number 50. Currently a quarter of the way through the race already. This lap number 45 is about 25% through. The race has only gone for 14 minutes, so it doesn't seem like it's going to be too bad. As you can see, the race timer looking like it will sit about an hour. again 9 minutes. Trying to look through here to see where everything is currently sat at. See where Tommy Brayer is running right behind the number 29 of Allison Rhodes. She's dropped to about 3 seconds back on Isaac Nichols, who has just continued to cut through traffic at a pretty astounding rate. He's lapped all the way up to 19th position at this point, and is about to lap the 23 of Stuart Gratton a second time. So Nichols able to get by the 23 car again. He is now 2 laps down, and now Nichols is really showing the pace that that 22 car has. And it is definitely something that a lot of drivers have looked at in practice. Didn't think that he was going to be this dominant. Looking at things right now, it seems that Nichols has just had the car a car that was a bit fast off of the trailer, and then they made the adjustments after qualifying that they needed. Meanwhile, drivers like Gatlin Downey have started to fall off the pace a little bit. Most likely, some adjustments will have to be made once they get into the pits for their first and probably only stop of the night. And that's really where you got to make up your time, is to get a good adjustment, get that car to where the driver needs it to be. And make sure that car can get as fast as it can possibly go. Most of the crew chiefs out here understand that. We got a battle between Eric Monaco and Ricky Dixon. Dixon has started to pull a little bit faster, catching the back of the 4 car. And it's been interesting to see who has pace when and who doesn't. So it seems like some drivers can save their tires a little bit longer, and then they get a little bit faster, and then they start to lose pace again. And then the other drivers that they had gotten by seem to gain a little bit more in pace. So right now, Tanya Brayer actually is running a little bit faster than Nichols at the moment. Nichols being stuck in lap traffic at the moment, trying to get by Cody Gump and Jay Barker, and also lap the 01 of Emma Bays. back through the field. You can see Eric Monaco has been able to fend off Ricky Dixon. The 73 of Andrea Martinez, currently sitting in 5th. Has gotten by the 45 of Cesar Chavez. Field here. You can see Breyer has a lot in front of her, and then you can see further up in the field, there is the leader.
Hello.
Is this Dejan Weeks calling in? Hello. You joined me just at the right time. We're doing a race. ASCA, USA International. You need to turn your mic up. I can barely hear you. What you saying, boy? You're very quiet.
You are 24th.
Yes, I am 24th. You're not in this series.
They actually race pretty well.
Yeah, they're actually racing pretty well. Currently, Isaac is leading. Chavez Chavez is battling for the 4th position right now.
Nice. Let's keep you to see what you're doing. All right, we'll go down solo.
And that was Dejan Weeks coming in just randomly. I guess you could call that an interview. But Isaac Nichols currently leading. Second is Tanya Breyer, trying to get by Cody Gump to the outside. And considering where Gump finished last race, this is not really the best spot for him to be in right now. Meanwhile, Isaac has lapped all the way up to Nicholas Samudio in the 17th spot. He's about to get by Ryan Reed and Daniel Boyles. And you can kind of see where each driver is during practice. But for the most part, it seems as though some of the drivers who were fast in practice might have made some adjustments that are not conducive to running well, it seems. Chavez, however, currently running 5th. 6th is 001 of Ricky Dixon. He started to fall off the pace a little bit. And we might see pit stops coming in fairly soon. I do know that the pit window is around 125 laps for tracks like Bristol. So it's just a matter of time before they come into pit and see where they stack up on pit road. They most likely won't come into pit until after lap 90, though. Because if they can make it past lap 90, the only way that you will come into pit is after the halfway point. Because then you will not have to pit again. Then it's the goal to see where in the pit cycle you want to be. Do you want to be out on track, or do you want to be coming into the pits on new tires, something like that? You almost want to come in when most people are in at the same time. So it's most likely going to be after the halfway point on lap 90. But we'll still have to see who comes into pit and when they come into pit. Ricky Dixon's starting to fall back even further now as Rogers gets to the inside of him and is able to pass both him and Savanoa. We haven't seen very much in the way of car-to-car contact, but it still has been pretty wild to see everything as it is. You can see Trace Howard in that 72 car has sat in 22nd. So definitely not the best race for him right now, considering he is your previous winner. And the points shakeup is going to definitely be interesting to see who ends up where. Most likely Isaac Nichols will take the points lead after this race. We're still about 3.3 seconds off the leader. Eric Monaco also not far behind. Cesar Chavez trying to close in on Monaco, but just doesn't seem to have enough pace to hold behind him. And obviously the closest race, I think, right now is going to be the race for 5th place. Andrea Martinez is having some trouble trying to get by Zach Staines in that 21 machine. Dixon able to get by 64 of Jake Rogers. And you can see Gatlin Downey, your pole sitter, has fallen all the way back to 8th position. And now Dixon trying to take back 5th place. So this battle for 5th place is still seemingly raging at the moment. How long it will stay this way, I am not sure as we close in towards lap number 90. Looks like the 73 of Andrea Martinez is trying to take that outside lane from the 21 of Zach Staines, but Staines is doing a very good job of keeping these cars behind him, driving that inside, trying to stave off some of the traffic that Isaac might have to move through. And Nichols has lapped all the way up to 14th position by this point, so he's almost up to the top 10 as far as lap traffic, and he's about to lap the 23 a third time. However, that doesn't seem to be very good as Tanya Breyer, it looked like Tanya Breyer had the gap still about 3 seconds, or maybe closed in a little bit, but is now about 4 seconds off. And she's still got a lot of lap traffic to move through. At this point, it seems like some drivers have not been able to maneuver through lap traffic very well. It seems as though certain drivers like Chavez have been able to maneuver through the traffic a little better, as he is about to catch the back of the 4-car of Eric Monaco and race for a potential 3rd place. Chavez looks to try and take that high line that is left by Singh. Doesn't seem to have anything for it, though, as it seems as though Eric Monaco is going to be able to take that spot away on the outside lane. Chavez still having to try and navigate through lap traffic, and lap number 90 is being clicked off this time by. So Isaac Nichols on lap number 91. We'll see whether or not drivers will start to dive into the pits or stay out. Nichols still moving through traffic pretty well. Breyer also trying to get through traffic as best she can. While it seems as though Eric Monaco's just trying to put a car between him and Chavez as much as possible. Rogers has been able to get by Ricky Dixon. Gatlin Downey has started to pull back in the gap a little bit. But looking like, as 14th place, Daniel Voiles is now lapped down. Some of the faster cars up at the top 10 are looking like they might start to fall to the predations of the 22 car and also go a lap down. Continues to just run through traffic. Second car 2 laps down is going to be 31 of Sam Verbeek. So as Nichols continues to move his way through the traffic, Tanya Breyer seems to have lost a lot of that time to Nichols trying to move through the field. And goes way high off the corner there in turns 3 and 4. Not seeing anyone try to dive into pit road, so most likely the pit window is most likely going to open. The pit window is definitely open at this point, but it's most likely going to be, or most likely going to see drivers who want to take it to the very end. Meanwhile, Bob Schwepke able to get by Austin Jakes in the 40 car. Those two are the last cars on the lead lap. So the more you can close in on the driver in front of you, especially if you're one of those two, then the better it would be for you. So Gatlin Downey and Ricky Dixon. Seems like Gatlin Downey started to find a second win towards the end of the run and has been able to move through the field quite well. Greg Shivers not far behind in that 89 car. But Isaac Nichols still holding strong. Battle for the 16th position between Ryan Reed and Nicholas Mudio continues to go on. But now Bob Schwepke has Isaac Nichols right on his back bumper. He's hoping that he can get in front of at least the 40 car. But he's going to let the 22 car go by to that inside lane. So now 13th place is going to go a lap down. And so right now you're going to try your best to stay in front or behind, right behind on the back bumper of that 22 machine for Schwepke. Because if there is a caution, you'll be in one of the better, you'll be in a very good spot. Or at this point, you might actually be better off coming into pit, running a few laps on tires, because then you can get a wave around. So that would be definitely a very risky strategy. now the 22 is going to be able to get by the 40 car, or is battling the 40 car of Austin Jakes. Schwepka not far behind, but not close enough to the back end of Nichols to really take advantage of it. And the further up the running order that Isaac Nichols' pass goes by, the more difficult it probably will be for Nichols to make these moves. Because now he's running against cars that are similar pace to him. You can also see Tanya Breyer running 24.1s. Still moving through lap traffic, so she's got a pretty good grip on what's happening, but she's still losing plenty of time. Due to just the amount of lap traffic that she has to move through at this point. Greg Shivers, who's kind of been at the back of the top 10 for most of this race, has now decided to try and move through the field a little bit more. He started up in 4th position, dropped back fairly quickly at the start, and has now moved himself back up into the 7th position. You know, someone in the top 10 who we really haven't talked about so far is Juan Garcia. We have seen him a few times before, but he's just not been really anywhere near where the cars are trying to fight each other. Has been sitting in this 10th position for a good while. But he's finally started to lose ground on the 22 of Isaac Nichols to the point where he's also about to maybe get passed for 10th position by Ernest Crispin in that 6 car. A lot of action going on really all over the place on the racetrack. Kelly Lee is trying to catch back up to the back end of Daniel Boyles, who is not too far ahead of her. You can see kind of where everyone started to run a lot less on the pace that they have been at the start. We're getting close to the point where I believe some drivers will come into pit. However, still nobody has come into the pits yet. So it'll be interesting to see where in the race they actually do decide to come down to pit road. Looking back on it, Bob Schwepka has started to lose some time to the 40 of Austin Jakes. And Tanya Breyer is continuing to lose time to Isaac Nichols. Even though Isaac Nichols is not running as fast of lap times as Breyer seems to be running, it just seems like Breyer just hasn't been able to keep the pace and has been kind of been inundated with trying to get by lap traffic the entire way through. As we look back, 51 and the 77 fighting over the 19th position. And again, we have not seen anyone come down pit lane just yet. As we're continuing to look and see who in the race will come into pit first. However, this seems like a good time to, I guess, go ASCA on board. Isaac Nichols continues to hold the lead and has continued to pull away from Tanya Breyer, although she's gained a little bit back. The gap is about 5.5 seconds between Breyer and Nichols, and it's just slowly been increasing as Breyer's been trying to move through slower traffic. Some of the races going on track, though, is the 64 and the 35 of Downey and Rogers. Downey not far behind of the 64, trying to move back up into, or close to the top 5. But is also trying to navigate some slower traffic as Rogers continues to put those cars between him and the 35 of Gatlin Downey, trying to chase him down. Not far behind him is the 89 of Greg Shivers, who has moved into 8th position. Ricky Dixon has fallen out of the top 10, or is close to falling out of the top 10. And it seems as though Crispin is just barely hanging on to Isaac Nichols at this point and keeping himself on the lead lap as he navigates through slower traffic. But Nichols is slowly moving towards him and trying to get another car put one lap down. Drivers who have gone 2 laps down at this point are the 21 and 21st, and there goes the 6th. And now the top 10 are the only drivers left on the lead lap. Juan Garcia is the next car in the sights of Nichols. So Garcia is trying to navigate his way through a lot of different cars. He's got Brandon Benton. He's actually let the 6 car go back by him. And so now it seems as though we've gotten into the point where some of the traffic has hit some of the traffic has forced Nichols to hit a wall, basically. And I'm surprised to see that they have not come into pit yet. So it could be one of those things where they're all waiting to till they're just barely out of fuel, barely have anything left on their tires, and they need to get in and come in to change tires and get more fuel. So it's all going to be based on who comes in first, who decides that they want to take that chance. You can see this is the battle for 19th as they both try to stay 2 laps down or try to come back to 1 lap down. However, you can also see that it seems like Isaac Nichols has started to lose a little bit on trying to take these drivers a lap down and has started to allow Tanya Breyer to pull that gap back in. However, Tanya Breyer is going to have to move through a lot of this traffic that Isaac Nichols has moved through, although it could be in less of a mess. Juan Garcia now trying to defend against Isaac Nichols, putting him a lap down. He's not going to try too hard, though. And so now Juan Garcia goes a lap down, still sitting in the 11th position. And this battling with these cars that are around the same pace as Nichols has really allowed Tanya Breyer to start to move through the field, or move the gap down quite a bit. Meanwhile, the battle for 4th between Andrea Martinez and Cesar Chavez has started to gain some traction. Rogers is pulled away from Downey quite significantly. And there's about 3 seconds between him and Cesar Chavez. So the Mustang and the Supra, Martinez and Chavez, are fighting over position. 73, however, seems to have a little bit more in the tank there, and she is able to get by the 45 of Cesar Chavez. Meanwhile, Monaco has kind of been on his own. However, you can see Tanya Breyer not too far ahead of him. And so what he's hoping to pull off is quite the feat to maybe catch Tanya Breyer and then pass him before pit stops become apparent. Meanwhile, also Juan Garcia has started to lose a lot of positions now since he has gone one lap down. Austin Jakes has taken the advantage and has moved into the 11th position. However, Isaac is still trying to make his way through some of these faster cars. And Breyer has finally caught that large group. Looks like she might try to stay behind Schwepka in the 334. Look like Chris Malley as fast as possible. And then also try to negate any sort of hold-up tactics that Zach Staines might try. 30 and 03. I'm about to go by the wayside if Breyer can move past them fairly quickly. She's been following Bob Schwepka through this lap traffic, but was not able to get by them. Was not able to get by those two cars through the center like Schwepka was able to. So she's lost a pretty good amount of time. However, it looks like Isaac Nichols has decided to come down to pit road. Cesar Chavez as well, so now the leader of the race is Tanya Breyer. Lap 138 is when drivers have decided to come down to the pits. Breyer will stay out another lap. Chavez coming out. Nichols finally making his way out. Gatlin Downey into the pits. So it's just a matter of time is when Tanya Breyer comes in, and it looks like this lap will be the in-lap for Tanya Breyer as she dives down into the pits. Juan Garcia, Ernest Crispin, and Austin Jakes all come in at the same time. Bob Schwepka, however, stays out. Eric Monaco also deciding to come in. Andrea Martinez, Rogers also coming in. And so now it's going to be interesting to see where everyone comes out on pit road. Tanya Breyer still has yet to come out of the pits. And stop is complete for Breyer. And she will defeat Monaco on pit road, but Monaco's still pretty close. And it seemed like a good stop potentially for Breyer. However, she has lost some time to Nichols. As we have 40 to go here. And it looks like Breyer had a little bit slower stop than Isaac Nichols. Drove down the pit lane a little bit slower, and then had a much slower in-box time as well. So, however, she does have a little bit slightly newer tires on than Isaac Nichols does, so it'll be interesting to see where everyone's at. Once everything shakes out. So Breyer's going to have a little bit of catching up to do as Monaco kind of stayed at the exact same place. Chavez is going to be leapfrogging, was able to leapfrog Andrea Martinez. And Gatlin Downey has been able to close that gap in on Jake Rogers and is now within a second to the 64 machine. for the pit stop from Crispin, Jakes, and Garcia. Those three cars losing a lot of time, and now Crispin has fallen a lap down, so now the only drivers still left on the lead lap are ninth up to the lead. So Nichols has been able to pretty much lead every single lap so far since he was able to get by Downey early on in the race. And he will guaranteed be given the most laps led. So Brayer's starting to try and pull that gap back as everyone is starting to move at the original lap times that they were running at the start of the race. Drivers still had yet to come into pit. Those are most likely the drivers towards the back of the field. So as everything continues to move through, Mitchell Henderson is the only driver that has yet to come down to pit, as the rest of the field has pitted by this point. So Henderson trying to pull as much as he can. Looks like he's going to come down to pit this time by. That could have been the strategy call to see where they come out when they come into pit, and hopefully make up a few spots on pit road. But unsure whether or not that's going to bear any fruit for that team, as they were already at the back end of the race. You can kind of gamble a little bit when you're that far back into the field. Tanya Brayer still trying to move through lap traffic. She has lost sight of the 22 car. Meanwhile, Nichols has continued to lead and has done a fantastic job up at the front of the field. Brayer has started to close the gap down a little bit, trying to stay in front of Juan Garcia. Who is trying to stay on that inside lane. But obviously Tanya Brayer a lot faster than Garcia at this point in time, and has kind of killed her run. Most likely not going to be very happy with Garcia after everything is done, because she's trying to make her way through the field and catch the back of the 22. And it's difficult to do that when you have someone trying to race you when they're already a lap down. So Brayer's still continuing to move here. She has started to really pull that gap down. So Nichols about 5 seconds still ahead of Brayer right now. Nichols still holding on a pretty good run. Cesar Chavez still trying to stay ahead of Martinez, but Martinez right now is driving really fast. And now the battle for 4th position has really kicked on the burners. Meanwhile, behind them, Rogers in 6th and Dixon in 7th, as well as pretty much the rest of the lead lap cars behind him are really having a battle behind him there. Rogers trying to stay ahead of Dixon, trying to get to the having to get to the inside of that 888 with Xavier Carlson, and that allows Gatlin Downey to get to the inside of Ricky Dixon. So Gatlin Downey has found some new life in new tires and has started to move his way back through the field again. It looks like that adjustment on the 35, I believe they did make some minor adjustments to that car, and now has kicked the pace up quite significantly on that 35 car. However, Isaac Nichols, a very daunting task ahead of him, trying to pass a crew of lap traffic while also staying ahead of Breyer. Breyer doesn't have much behind her, much in front of her that she needs to get by, but Isaac Nichols has plenty ahead of him. However, it seems like this group has kind of dispersed itself fairly significantly. And so Nichols has been able to get by this crew fairly easily. However, Breyer has cut that gap down fairly significantly as well. Now Rogers trying to fight against Gatlin Downey, trying to take that outside. And the problem for Isaac Nichols would be if he catches this group of cars. They're all battling each other, and they're all similar pace to Nichols right now. So looking at it right now, Isaac Nichols is going to have a lot of trouble towards the end of this one if he catches this group at the wrong time. So at this point, I'd say he's probably trying to buy himself some time as this group continues to battle. Downey trying to pull away from Ricky Dixon, but I don't know how easy that will be. Breyer has finally caught the back end, I believe, of that large group that Isaac Nichols had to pass through. Not entirely. And Monaco's still right there, just hasn't been able to get anything moving on that car. It just seems like the top three have kind of sat where they are since they got there and have not been able to do much of it since. And Monaco, for what it's worth, has been able to get something, what looked to be like a race where he was going to finish outside the top 10. He's moved himself back up through the field. I actually believe he has the fastest lap of the race so far. And as things wind down, we got 15 to go this time by. Breyer doing a very good job of getting through lap traffic. He started to kind of cut the gap down between her and Nichols. But again, there's a big group of cars that she's going to have to get through that Nichols was able to expertly move through. Meanwhile, the battle for fourth between Chavez and Martinez is still raging on. Shivers has taken the 6th position. Gatlin Downey has started to fall back again. And this sort of ebb and flow with this group of cars has definitely been an interesting one to watch to see who will come out on top, but it just seems like everyone who is in this group just can't chase each other, just can't catch each other. 12 laps to go for the 22. With Isaac Nichols this time by. As he's just been running an expert race. Even going around the corners, you can see Tanya Breyer is just not able to be seen. Looks like Emma Bays is having some issues with that 01 machine. Said she's come in at least 3 times at this point, so something going wrong with that 01 machine. Unsure what the problem is there, but I'm almost certain that car was not really in contention to do much anyway. So with 10 to go now this time by, Nichols running a very good race, doing everything that he could to get by lap traffic. And has been able to hold off a charge, or a potential charge, multiple charges potentially from Tanya Breyer, and has been able to expertly weave himself through lap traffic. And that's really where short track races end up becoming, especially if they run green for this long, is who can move through the lap traffic better than the other guy. And right now it seems like Isaac Nichols, who was already the fastest car on track at a certain point, has just been constantly capable of moving through the lap traffic a lot better than the drivers trying to chase him down. It's not to say that Tanya Breyer has had an awful race. She's been able to move through traffic fairly easily and has been able to keep herself from getting brought upon by Eric Monaco, who is currently sitting in 3rd. But all 3 of these drivers have been capable of just gapping themselves away from the rest of the field, and that's been kind of the whole theme. And especially with Monaco, we thought he wasn't going to be able to move through lap traffic at all and just start falling back through the pack, but he's been able to make himself into a top 3 finisher after dropping back almost out of the top 10 early on. So I guess at this point Isaac Nichols has started to drop his pace down a little bit, running in the 24.2s, about a second slower than what his normal pace would be. Gatlin Downey right ahead of him in that 35 machine. So Downey will get an extra point. I believe he will get a bonus point for being the fast qualifier, but not a horrible race to start things off. For that 35 car season. Sitting in 9th place, is going to be at least in the midfield after this first race. As we come close, a white flag will come out this time by for Isaac Nichols in the 22. Tanya Breyer was not able to mount a charge after really anything, so white flag this time by for Isaac Nichols, who has just masterfully shown his prowess on the short track here at USA International, and he will take the 4th of July Independence Day Special here at USA International Speedway. The red, white, and blue comes across the line to take the checkered flag. Isaac Nichols will be your winner. Tanya Breyer will come home in second. Eric Monaco with a solid third place. Fourth goes to Andrea Martinez. Fifth to Cesar Chavez. Sixth, Ricky Dixon. And a close group there. Ricky Dixon, Greg Shivers, and Jake Rogers all finishing right next to each other. And that was the finish there for some of the last few drivers in that group. But at the end of the day, the iRacing number 22 Chevrolet of Isaac Nichols comes home and takes the victory. And a fantastic run for this crew. So after all that, we see Isaac Nichols coming across the line to take the checkered flag in his 22 machine. We'll be back with the points just after this. Just as I expected, Isaac Nichols So looking at it right now, Isaac Nichols will take the top spot with 94 points. One win with 2 top 5s, 2 top 10s on the year so far. His average finish of second. Definitely a good finish for him. And Trace Howard drops 18 points to Isaac Nichols. Austin Jake's going to drive up to third place. Boyle's sitting in fourth, and Juan Garcia with a good finish, with a decent finish here. Holds up in the 5th position. And it seems as though Gatlin Downey will move up to 26th from the first race of this season, finishing a solid 8th place. And that is going to do it here, I guess, for tonight. Next race will be the Daytona. Will be the, I guess the official first race of the season will be at Daytona. So everything has been shaping up to this. 2 races in Florida already, 1 road course, 1 short track. And now we get to go to a completely different racetrack than we normally have been. The high banks of Daytona are up next.